Alright, first and foremost, I'm going to say all honor and praises be to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of GreatMillStone, and shalom to the sincere and elect out there, teaching this truth in faith with sincerity. I'm going to do a quick, like a response to a clip I saw, to a show that I saw, last night, man, on, BBC 2. And that, show is, Famalam, right? It's basically a comedy show of skits, right? And to quite frankly give my honest opinion on the show, this show is just making so-called black people, which really they ain't black. They are Israelites. In case you actually didn't know, the Negroes, Latinos, and natives, man, they are the real Hebrew Israelites, man. But if you watch this program, basically they're essentially taking the piss out of our people, you know, as jokes. But one thing they spoke about in this first episode is that the one who you call Jesus Christ was a black man. And I'm gonna put the clip at the end of this show. Just sit down. But basically in the show, this man over here is played as a Jesus man, as people would say, which his true name according to the Hebrew is Yahushai, which according to the Bible, when you read the Bible, he's a black man out of the tribe of Judah. So as you can see, he's here with dreads, which didn't have dreads, but as you can see, this guy's a dark-skinned man. You know, his shades light, but he as you can see, he is a man of color, right? And if you watch this clip, they straight up say that, look, man, look, this guy ain't this guy ain't got blonde hair and blue eyes, right? He actually said, you know, I'm a Jew, and as you can see, I'm black. And he practically said he's come to save the Jews, and he said he's black. So in this show, they show you that what we've been saying in a funny way, right? But in this show, they show you that the real Hebrew Israelites are a people of color. And on the BBC, they practically show you that the people of the 12 tribes of Israel, starting off with the tribe of Judah, are black, man. So the first scripture I'm gonna read, which I'm gonna play this clip at the end of this video, is this is 2 Corinthians 13:8. For we can do nothing against the truth, but for the truth. That's right, because you know when you see this program, right? If you see this program, it seems as banter. It seems as it just seems as a joke, but really they actually show you some truth in this. This guy over here in this show said, look, I didn't have blonde hair and blue eyes. We at the camp say this. In fact, the BBC is around the corner from our camp, and certain brothers in our camp have done videos outside the BBC, man. So they have walked past the camp, and we personally had people from the BBC come to our camp to try and talk to us, to try and interview us, but it's not worked out, you know. But the point I'm making is the BBC, they know who we are, man. They know the scriptures. Again, we teach, alright? We've got 2 camps around the corner from the BBC, man. So they definitely do know about us, man. And in this program, in the first episode of the program, they specify that the Lord who people ignorantly call Jesus Christ is not a white man, that he's a so-called black man, right? And now, I'm going to prove it through the Bible. This is Revelation 1:14. And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man. In case you didn't know, the Son of Man is the one who you ignorantly call Jesus Christ. Clothed with a garment down to the foot and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow. As you can see, it's a simile, right? It first describes the texture of his hair, because, you know, it's compared, you know, to wool. Wool in terms of its texture. Then it says it's white as snow. So at first compares the texture of his hair, thick and woolly. Then it says as white as snow, because of his stress, because of his wisdom, at a young age of around 33, his hair was grey. Now if you've seen like old black men, grey hair, right? It essentially just looks white. I've seen like certain old men, man, with like a grey kind of afro, man. I'm gonna find a clip. Like I've seen older men, you know. See, look at him. His head and his hairs is white and woolly, man. You know. See, even though his dreads is white and woolly. See. So, going back onto the point, right? It says his head and his hair, so his texture of his hair and his color were as woolly and it was white as snow. His eyes were as a flame of fire, meaning red. Now if you go into the prophecy in Genesis chapter 49, it says that it prophesies his eyes being red with wine, because he drank wine, and the Lord had his body keep that characteristic, you know. And his feet, so his actual foot, his feet, like unto fine brass, which if you go into that word brass over here, is burnished copper, right? But if you go further into that word, right, is bronze. Right? It's bronze. Right? Now, so let's type in burnt brass or bronze. See, it's brown. As you can see, it's brown, right? It's brown. See, burnt brass. See, it's right here. Burnt brass. See, his head and his hairs was white like wool. And it says burnt brass, right? So it says his feet, his actual feet, right, was out to burnt brass. No, and it says, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace. What color is something that's burned? Now, don't try to use the example of magnesium, because that just turns that color when it's heated. But in terms of something that's burned, yeah, that's consumed by fire, it is very dark. So if his feet was very dark, what color was his whole body? And his voice was as the sound of many waters. So this scripture here says that the Lord, who people ignorantly call Jesus Christ, was a very, very dark-skinned man out of the tribe of Judah. Let's get more scriptures. this is Songs of Solomon, yeah? Songs of Solomon, chapter. No, actually, let me read this in Jeremiah. Now, if you read the scriptures, it calls the Lord the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of Jesse, because he came out of the tribe of Judah, right? So if you go back to the program, he was saying that he's Jewish, right? Which really, I'll be 1 second. Let me get my charger. Alright, cool. Yeah, so it was saying, so if you go in the program, it says he's Jewish. Really, there's no such thing as a Jewish person. It's either you're a Jew or you're not. Now, the word Jew, the term Jew, goes back to the man who was named Judah, right? Which was the fourth born son of Jacob, right? And from him come the Jews, or the tribe of Judah. Jew is Judah. That's what it means. It's a shortened version of Judah. And the Lord came from the tribe of Judah. So let's read this scripture. Jeremiah 14:2. Judah mourneth, the gates thereof languish, they are black unto the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. Right? Now, if you go into the Hebrew of this word, it's what? Kodah, which means to be ashy or dark colored, blackish, dark colored. So the tribe of Judah is very dark, right? So dark. Jews. Now, if you know anything in history, right? You should understand something about something called the Moors, man. All right, and this was a time period in which so-called black people ruled in Europe for 1,000 years, man. Places like Spain, Portugal, and Italy, even here, man, in England. So this right here is from a historical account in history of how dark the Jews were in Spain and Portugal, which was so-called black men. In fact, the first slave ships came from Spain, right? White says an interesting relation of all shades down to the black is exhibited by the Jews. Especially dark were the Jews of Spain and Portugal. The Portuguese Jews were very dark, says Pritchard. The Duchess of D'Ambratis, wife of Napoleon's ambassador to Portugal, said that the Jew, the Negro, and the Portuguese could be seen as a single person. The Jew, the Negro could be seen as a single person because guess what? They were the same person. They were Israelites. So dark were the Jews of Spain, so dark were the Jews, especially of Portugal and southern Spain, that many whites thought all Jews were black or dark. It says they thought this and believed this, but really it was true. Because Jews, as it says in the Bible, Jeremiah 14:2, Judah mourneth and the gates thereof languish, they are black unto the ground. So it's in the Bible, it's in history, that the Jews were dark. So even though in this program, right, they tried to make it seem as a joke, banter. Yeah, he's really a dark-skinned man out of the tribe of Judah, baby. This is Job. Job is an Israelite, man. Right? Job 30 and 30. My skin is black upon me, and my bones are burned with heat. So he's saying, look, man, I'm so black, man. I'm so dark. Now, this truth isn't a black thing. I'm just saying that the Lord was a dark-skinned man. And in this program, it came out as banter, but it was factual. This is Exodus 2 and 19 of Moses. I'm going to start from verse 15. Now when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moses. But Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh and dwelt in the land of Midian, and he sat down by a well. Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water and filled the troughs to water their father's flock. And the shepherds came and drove them away, but Moses stood up and helped them and watered their flock. And when they had came to Reuel their father, he said, how is that ye are come so soon today? And they said, an Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds. Now, right now, right, we know according to the Bible, according to the records of the Bible, that Moses, he was an Israelite out of the tribe of Levi. He was an Israelite, but here they mistook him for an Egyptian. So here, and if those Jews, those Israelites were white, why did they mistake Moses, an Israelite, for an Egyptian? And don't come with that bullshit. Well, you had some white pharaohs, which you did. That was during the Hellenistic period, when the Greeks ruled in Egypt, man. Specifically Ptolemy, right? His line and lineage dwelt and ruled in Europe during the empire ruled in Egypt during the empire of the Greeks. So at some point in history, you actually had white pharaohs and shit. Like you know, people like to talk about Cleopatra. Well, to be honest, it's factual. Cleopatra was actually a white woman, right? Because that was during a time period when the Greeks ruled in Egypt. But the point to establish that the true original people who dwelt in Egypt were very dark-skinned people, but not Israelites, but they were dark-skinned. But Moses, an Israelite, was mistaken for an Egyptian. So quick question to ask you: if an Israelite was mistaken for an Egyptian, what color were those Israelites? They were very dark-skinned people. This is Lamentation 4 and 8. This is talking about the Israelites. Their visage, right? Meaning what? Let's go into the word visage, right? Right? Outline, i.e. figure or appearance. So he's saying their appearance is blacker than coal. To be black, to darken. So it said to be blacker than the coal. So it's saying the appearance of these Israelites were blacker than the coal. They are not known in the streets. Their skin is cleaved to their bone. It is withered. It is become a stick. This is Songs of Solomon 1 and 5. If you know anything, King Solomon, which I ain't gonna go too deep, but in history, in the line and lineage of the one who people ignorantly call Jesus Christ, which his true name is Yahweh, which the Heavenly Father's name is Yahweh, right? King Solomon, at a point in time, is his foreparent, right? You know, if you go by his father's line, because yes, Mary and Joseph had sex. But if you go further down the actual line of his genealogy, right? King Solomon, right, is in his genealogy, right? And King Solomon said this about himself, right? I am black but comely, O ye daughters of Jerusalem. So he's saying, I'm black and beautiful, baby. No, that's what King Solomon is saying. I am black but comely, O ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar. Kedar, I believe, was a son of Ishmael, right? And it says, and if you go into the word, it basically means dark skin, right? So it says, I am black, but comely, all you daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon. So it's saying, very dark. Look not upon me, because I am black. So the real Hebrew Israelites are a people of color. The real Hebrew Israelites are the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Because the sun have looked upon me. So he's saying, look, man, I'm very dark, because the sun made me darker, man. Look, man. So when you see a so-called white person in the sun, he don't get darker. His skin gets like this, man. Some deep heat, you know. Look not, because the sun have looked upon me, and my, you know. So he's saying, look, I'm very dark skinned, man, right? And so this right here was a brief description of King Solomon. Now, when you further go into the scriptures, man. Right? This is John 14:8, right? Philip saith unto him, Lord, show us the Father, and it sufficeth us. And Yahushua said unto him, have I been so long time with you, and yet thou hast not known me? Philip, he that seen me has seen the Father, and how sayest then, shows the Father? So he's saying, look, man, if you see me, you seen the Father, because guess what? He looks just as his Father. He's a spitting image of his Father, right? The actual Bible says this about him. This is Colossians. No, Hebrews 1:3. Who being the brightness of his glory and the express image of his person, right? And upholding all things. Actually, I'm gonna start from verse 1. Hebrews 1:1. The Most High, who at sundry times and in diverse manners spake in times past unto the fathers by the prophets, hath in these last days spoken to us by his Son, whom he hath appointed heir of all things, by also whom he made the worlds, who being the brightness of his glory and the expressed image of his person. So he's saying, right, the Son, right, is the expressed image of his person, which can be what? An exact copy, right? So he's saying his Son, it says the exact expression, the image of any person or thing, marked likeness, yeah, precise reproduction in every respect. So he's saying his Son looks just like him. That's what the Bible is saying, that the Son looks just as the Father, man. So guess what? If the son, his feet is as burnt brass. Guess what? The father's the same way. If the son's got a white woolly afro, the father has the same way. So God and his son, the Most High, the creator of all things, he's a dark-skinned man too. And this program was trying to take the piss out of it, but guess what? It had some truth in there, because guess what? We teach right across the road from the BBC. This is Daniel chapter 10 and 5. It says, Then I lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with fine gold of Uphaz. And it's describing the same thing in Revelation, a golden girdle. His body was like the beryl. Now, well, if you're going to the beryl, it's green, right? So his garment, not his body. If you show me a person with a green body, then I'll show you someone who's sick, right? Or who's painting himself, or who's wearing a Nigerian flag. Yeah, you can't go in the world and see no good guy with a green body, man. His body was also like the beryl, his clothes, garment, and his face like the appearance of lightning. Now it's not talking about his face is lightning. No, his aura, right? And on top of that, Scripture says, like a man's wisdom maketh his face to shine, because he's the word and will of the Heavenly Father. So guess what? He's got a bright aura to him. His eyes were as lamps of fire. It's the same thing when we're saying his eyes shall be red with wine, right? And his arms and his feet like unto the color of polished brass. The same thing as burnt brass. The same thing. The same thing. And the voice of his words were like the voice of a multitude. You know? So really, that's the point, man. The one who you call Jesus Christ is a dark-skinned man. And this program was trying to take the piss out of it. But guess what? They had some truth in there, because it's in the Bible. And with that, I'm going to play the clip. And until next time, I'm going to say all praise be to Abba Shem Shai. Shalom. And double honors unto the apostles of the GreatMillStone, and shalom to the sister in it. Shalom.
Jesus, can you hear me? I don't know where else to turn it. I'm desperate. I need your help.
I can hear you, my son. I have always been listening.
Who are you?
It is I, Jesus. I heard your prayer, and I've come to help you.
You're not Jesus.
I am.
But doesn't Jesus look a bit more like...
Oh, I see. You thought I'd be white.
Kind of, yeah.
Look, I don't know what to tell you. I was born in the Middle East 2,000 years ago. The Bible's very clear about that. It should be pretty obvious I don't have blonde hair and blue eyes.
Guess so.
Plus, have you heard my story? When I was arrested by a mob of angry government officials and beaten for a crime I didn't commit, and that shit doesn't happen to white people.
And there was some confusion over who your father was.
Okay, that's just racist.
Sorry. It's just... You're not really what I was expecting, that's all.
Would you like me to fetch white Jesus instead?
Oh, could you?
No! There is no white Jesus. It's just me. Do you want my help or not?
Yeah, I suppose so. After all, you know, black or white, we're both still Christians, right?
I'm guessing now's not the time to tell you I'm Jewish.